So like one of the things, two things I discovered recently, like not particularly maybe like remote, but it might appeal to people. Like I discovered that Sublime Merge, right? They have a very good um, Sublime. Like if you guys are on Mac or actually on Windows also, Sublime is there. It's got a very very good Git client. Yeah, it's got a very very good Git client. So like you usually have like I mean recently I was merging like a lot of code uh, from like many months ago into like this branch, like the develop branch, and like before this I was using some other tool which wasn't that great. So like I discovered the Sublime Merge is extremely good. So for those who haven't checked it out, I would suggest check it out. It's quite good. Like it's got it looks good and it's got a very good merging like the conflict resolution thing. It's very fast. So that's
Nice.
cool. And yeah, I will not share my screen. Like it's I mean I can't.
Yeah.
It's good. Check it out. They have a free version, or they have a trial version which you can use indefinitely, and you can buy it if you want the dark theme. But it's good. Like I would recommend it. The other thing I discovered just yesterday morning was Airtable. I might be coming like very late to the party, but I never actually really tried using Airtable. But it's fantastic. It's like a psychiatrist friend of mine. He wanted some tool like to do like patient management and automatically feedback form jana chahiye after like the patient has gone back and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'll try with Google Sheets, but then I thought I'll try with Airtable, and it was like the epitome of like I'm like very impressed by them, like really good. So like using Airtable, Zapier, and Gmail, like I was able to build like stuff for him in like 30 minutes, which he can use like right now. Like, really. So if you haven't checked out Airtable like me so far, like very very good. So that's me.
Cool. So I'll keep sharing the links in the chat. So if people want to go back and find out more, they can also. So Arvind, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Audible this time, right?
Yeah, clear.
Yeah. So I've recently discovered this tool called There. It is a Mac application. I think they are releasing. I'll pin the link in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
I've
think
heard about.
they've released Windows and Linux as well. So it helps you manage. I mean, it helps you look at what time that your coworkers are in. So you can add people there, right, with names and with their location. So the time gets automatically, you get a drop down in your toolbar, which shows time of your coworkers and stuff. I found this really helpful. And I gave this tool to everyone so that if you have account in it, even if you switch places, the time gets automatically updated. So yeah, this was actually very useful. And regarding Airtable that Saurabh was mentioning, a friend of mine here, the co-working space, he uses that with, he develops games basically, and he has games for different languages. So he shares the same Airtable with translators so that they help him in translating the words. And he tells me he finds it very useful and very convenient to use Airtable and pull stuff and build things with it. So yeah.
That's something we can discuss in detail maybe at the end. Yeah,
Yes,
sounds interesting.
this is cool. This seems a cool tool. Like I keep like around 4 to 5 clocks in the dashboard and
that
do the
is
calculation of time.
So Sameer, anything that you'd like to share?
Yes, I have listed some. I don't know. Some might be you guys might be knowing them all. Some, but there is this app called Station, which is which is there to relieve you from the so many tabs or the icons that are open in a dock bar to help from like you can, in a single tab or a icon, like you can add a lot of application. Application switcher is sort of an application switcher. For example, especially like when we do the prototyping and all those things, we do like I open 2 to 3 InVision accounts. So and they're 2 in different browsers. So rather than doing it differently, I do it in one. This is a browser basically with the different tabs of your apps. So quite interesting. Another one is basic. This is Notion app. I think Abhishek would be using.
Yeah.
I saw it somewhere. This is a good tool, like for those who wants to customize their workspace. Provides a blank canvas and easy to customize things there, or whatever they want to note it down. And for design, there is this abstract app. Like it is like a Git for the designers. But I think if designers are here, so but collaboration is like, but collaboration in this one is a bit, I think, on paid, like on the premium account, like real collaboration that happens there. But otherwise, on individual basis for design version control, the abstract app is very interesting. That's all I have.
Cool. Thanks, Samir. Thanks for sharing that. I think Rajneesh or Ashwin. Rajneesh, do you want to go next?
Yep. So, I mean, nothing new from my side, but I remember sort of talking about the editors. So I remember when I was mainly a Java developer earlier, so I was used to the Eclipse IDE earlier, which is like a lot of embedded feature it used to have. So I was initially using Aptana Studio, which was like built on top of Eclipse for the Ruby development. But then I kind of decided to switch to a lighter Notepad kind of some IDE. So then I explored the Sublime and then Atom. And Sublime, I found Atom like better compared to Sublime, and it is from GitHub, so it's like some more trusted kind of. So that's why I started Atom. It's like I'm still using it. And Sublime used to give some prompts also for registration or something. But Atom is like smooth for me. So for regular development, I'm using Atom only.
So any particular extensions that you use that you maybe?
So Atom has a lot of extensions. So I have like there is a file comparison. So you can, any changes, you can simply compare, see what is the change. Anything like any new thing you want, there will be extension. You just download it and it will be integrated with the.
I think the whole ecosystem is divided in the 3. I think there's VS Editor and then there is Atom and Sublime. I think I'm not sure. Like you don't follow which one is the most popular, but somewhere or the other, like people kind of choose one and stick to it. Oh, I forgot Vim, by the way. So, sorry if there are Vim fans out here. But there's still like a lot of people who are like hardcore fans of like we shouldn't even think about getting out of that terminal. If you can.
So for the Vim fans, we have a Vim extension in VS Code where you could use VS Code like Vim. So my coworker did that.
Okay.
So the Vim fan is very hard for him to move out of Vim, but VS Code helped him because it has a Vim mode. So that's how it happened.
So Ashwin, as in, thanks for joining in, even if you have to leave early. Maybe you can quickly share anything, any particular thing that you used.
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of the conversation. I think, so Samir was talking about prototyping design tools, and I think.
Okay. No. So trying
Rajneesh was talking about coding.
Yeah. So what we are discussing today is, any tool or tech that you've discovered recently, which kind of makes your remote life easier. But I guess we are a little bit,
Yeah,
letting
yeah,
it.
cool.
So
So in that sense, I think I use Appear.in for a lot of my calls.
mhm,
I think that's a very easy, straightforward. You just create a link and you share it. Everybody just logs in.
right.
I think I use that quite extensively. It's a no-brainer for me. Whenever I have a call, everybody, it just intuitively just is there in the browser once you visit it, and you don't have to search for that link again. That's one that I heavily rely on. The others, I think, for collaborations, I mean, most of my work is about collaboration around product, requirements, specs, and all that kind of stuff. I rely a lot on Dropbox, paper by Dropbox, right?
Mhm.
I think it's got a neat set of features. Even if you want to, change that into a presentation, then and there itself, you can just click on the presentation button and just translate your doc into a presentation. So I use paper also quite a lot. Right? And I think for like project management, I ended up using Coda.io quite a bit. It's a new version of Google Docs slash Excel slash, uh, it's sort of like Notion, but then sort of has a lot more features in terms of programmability. So yeah, I think these are the stuff that I use, and I think you've already covered prototyping tools and all of that stuff, right? So yeah, I think that's about it.
Cool. I think like we could do like dive in a little bit detailed into like how you're using Airtable or how you're using Coda, right? As in
Sure, sure.
maybe yeah, that would be like a good discussion to see what are the use cases that are possible just by using these no code tools.
Sure, sure. So Appear, I mean, it's a video conferencing software where it works without downloading anything. You can share
Yeah,
a screen with your.
Ashwin, sorry,
Yeah,
I was talking specifically about Coda or like the Coda example. Appear.in.
sure.
Yeah.
So Coda, I think, one way I use it is completely for project management, automatic user assignment, trying to sort of make sure that times and deadlines and all of that stuff are linked. So there's a lot of formulas on Coda which allow you to, uh, you know, be flexible around, some of the stuff that, you want to build. And you have a table at the start, and then you can switch it to a calendar, have a quick meeting where, everybody's on the same page about the calendar and when their dues are and all of that stuff. And I think of late they've also launched, I'm not sure what they call it, but I think it's a plugin or an extension kind of a thing where you can trigger external code from within Coda. So for instance, one use case that I think we'll be building on is if you have like a CRM kind of stuff on Coda where you have a table of full of contacts, you just click a button and then the call sort of initiates kind of a thing. Right. So it's very extensible in that way. It's also got a Zapier integration. So, I mean, you could literally integrate it with anything and everything. And I think talking about all the diverse use cases of Coda, it's quite, exhausting. And the nice thing is that I think they have also replicated some of the best ways some teams work. For instance, Spotify, they have this clique concept where they work around, what is the goal for a clique, setting up project template for that and trying to sort of establish that. So you can quickly go in there, take that template and start populating your stuff and build your own project and, uh, you know, uh, run a meeting using that, right?
Oh,
And I think what I also like is that, the flexibility to change from a table to a Kanban view or whatever. I mean, this might be stuff that, you guys might not directly be using, but I think for me it's quite helpful.
so what about the learning curve? Like I've used Coda for a very simple use case, which is just tracking OKRs. But as in like I found it to be very overwhelming. As in like there's so many things you could do. So as in could you maybe share like how you went about, learning as in about this one. And
So I think the first time I started Coda was like early stage. I think they're very, very early. And I think at that point of time, I was also overwhelmed. Like, what are you supposed to do? I think clarity comes in when you're clear about what the use case is. And then I think I try to sort of build from there, right? So I spend a lot of time looking at templates, looking at how do we structure teams, how do we structure projects, all of that stuff. Spent a lot of time figuring that out, and then chose, hey, this is the one that works for me. And then from there, trying to sort of use the features that sort of is available to meet that requirement.
Cool. And I'm guessing you have a lot of experience working with Excel, right? So that helps you to transition into Coda, right?
Excel, Google Sheets, and I think Google App Sheet is also something that I've been using quite frequently now.
Yeah.
I think it's a very easy to, if you don't have a backend for most of your stuff, like, it's just a form that you fill and you want access to be given to so many people and edit rights for certain cells for a certain set of people, you can do that very easily on Google Sheets. So I try to sort of push data, wherever there's no backend build, instead of creating another database and, creating an access and all that stuff, I just push it to a Google Sheet with the right tools. I think, and a lot of like app scripts that sort of convert forms into, tables, that really has been useful to just get going without too much of infra.
Yeah, I think these tools are like great for prototyping, as in
Yep,
you don't have to worry about setting up a DigitalOcean server or, God forbid, AWS instance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's quick and dirty and it's flexible as well, which is great. I mean, tomorrow you feel like, I don't want this, I want something else. You quickly can make that change happen. Whereas, not in all cases, but, sometimes when teams of tech folks are involved and, it's like priority kya hai, kab karna hai, it becomes a task and an ordeal of this doesn't sort of, this allows me to sort of do it if I need to.
Cool. So I have something to share. Maybe, quickly we'll do that before we move to Airtable, because I'm like quite keen to know about Airtable. So if you can open this link that I shared, which is, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's basically observe with a Q. So this is, I just recently started using this, and it's like a replacement for SQTime. And the differences are, that your data is there on your Mac. It doesn't, go to a server, so it's there on the client. The other part which I like is, if I can share my screen. So it's on my Mac menu bar. It kind of, shows an indicator. So let me just share my screen quickly. So let me know if you can see it. So I'm not sure if we can move this. So if you can see this part, so it gives me like a very clear, overview that, okay, like, I don't need to open up SQTime to figure out, okay, how my day is going. And then I kind of, understand that, okay, this is been a pretty good day for me. And, obviously, the other part which I liked was this timesheet thing, which at the end of the day, you can, figure out, I think this part, like what is the time where, you have been actually, the green ones are actually, showing how, the productive ones. So it kind of helps me to, like, it's been working out very, very well for me. And you guys can, have a look. I think it has a 15-day trial period. And after that, it's not very expensive. It's like $1,500 for a one-time, license fee. So it's not like subscription product. So
how does it know the productive thing? Is it like just by the app you are on, or does it track anything else?
No. Right now it's just the apps. The things which are the things which are uncategorized. Let's say, this part, mobilize. So if it doesn't know about it, you can, submit this to, improve it. But And if you want to go more advanced, there are actually rules that you can write where you can actually create, invoices out of it. That, let's say, if you're opening up Sublime Text, then it kind of, takes all of the time that is, you've used on Sublime Text and puts it into that project. But I am not, getting into that kind of specific, because in my case, I just have like one client, right? So it doesn't, like I don't need to send invoices. So in my case, this homepage is good, as in like just to, kind of understand that, okay, from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. like how's been the day. I think this has been, and no data shared, which is great. Like, so
Is there any manual entries you have to do on this one?
no manual efforts, man. No manual efforts. So yeah, I think I found out this tool from Indie Hackers website. This guy had like, I think, an interview shared there, and I found it to be interesting. So it's not a very well-known name, but I think whatever he has built, and the only caveat is it's only there for Mac, because I think
So
because there's no server, right? Yeah.
So many years ago, like I used this thing called Time Doctor, which is on Windows, and it has like very, very similar graphs for this. Like, track, again, it's a desktop application, so it's in the menu. And so if you're on Windows, you can check that out instead. It's like a similar kind of thing.
Few days back, I think Vignesh in the community also posted about like he's building something like this, which
Yeah.
is, he also mentioned Time Doctor and Toggle and Clocky is another. But Clocky is based mostly. Clocky has some manual entries to it. So I think this is what exactly.
Yeah, I discussed that with him. I think I've shared, the link with him. So I think he wants to build it for both Windows and Mac, and maybe, like I'm still not sure what would be the differentiator from this product, but I think the only one is that he's wanting to build it for, Windows as well. And yeah. Let's see. So yeah, I think everybody's had a chance
On
to
the same note, right?
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, because you were sort of talking about time tracking, I've been using An.co for a bit. It's from the same guys being favored. I'm not sure. I mean, it doesn't allow this complex level of time tracking or anything. It's a manual kind of a thing. You can say that there are three clients that you have. In these 3 clients, you have 4 projects. And you can say that, in a project, this is the task that I'm doing, and set a timer and start, and you can stop. And then it just sort of compiles the whole thing into like an invoice of sorts. I think it has a free tier where you have 2 clients or so. I try and use that for my time tracking, because I don't need to get into as much productive details as this. But yeah, that's also something I use.
Yeah. Cool. So sort of, as in, do you think it would be possible to share the prototype that you built for your psychiatrist, or like, who was it?
Not my psychiatrist, but my friend who's a psychiatrist.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry. Sorry for the misleading introduction.
Yes. Very loaded question. Yeah, sure. I'll
so then I think, folks would be able to understand, okay, this is, like the power of Airtable, because I think just seeing a use case helps us to maybe, like experiment, play with the product, and see if there is something that we could actually build.
Yeah.
Really.
So, like, has anybody else used it? Like, I don't want to make it too boring if like somebody else has used it.
I've used it, but as a very novice user, so that's why I'm like interested in this. So maybe anybody else who has used Airtable in the house?
I have created an account and I have a thing, but I have yet to use it.
That doesn't count, so.
That's why
I'll share my screen quickly and just run you through the requirement. So, like, basically what he wanted was that, like, one of his patients actually came up to him and said that he wants to start a startup in which so okay, like, yeah.
That's
So
another
he wants to
loaded
start
question.
he wants to start a startup with and he was trying to pitch his product to him. And he says that like once a patient leaves, you can email him like a feedback form to know like how well the session has gone and stuff. And he's like, yeah, that's a good idea. Like I should do that now myself. So he pinged me, and I'm like, yeah, like, and he's a receptionist. So the receptionist would feed in that, oh, patient has left now. And one thing which he wants to do is basically also track the time that the session started and the session ended, because he wants to bill them accordingly, like for the time, rather than now he has no track of it, like, you know. So I said, like, let me try it out. So the thing about Airtable, right? When you start it, it's like a Google. So what they have is they have something called bases. Bases is a database. So like all these are like bases. These are like standard ones which came. I didn't touch them. I created this one, patients and it's like a very simple use case, right? So like when you start it, you get like a empty table like this. That's it. Like it's like a Google spreadsheet kind of thing, and you have columns and stuff. So and I have been creating databases since like Access days. So and Access is also pretty good at that way. You know, you can create a table. It creates like these apps for you. Like for my dad, I had created a bunch of apps with stacks files and stuff. But this takes it to a whole new level, right? So like all you have to do is like this table. You can double click, change this to say stuff like patient ID, and then drop down to change the text field. Like it's a very simple thing. And the cool thing about this over Sheets is that it gives you like mapping
Right.
to other sheets. So I can say, oh, this patient ID you pick up from patients, and then it says, oh, it's like allow multiple records or single record. So I would just want one record here and save it. And then attachments are there. You can drag drop any file into this. It shows it as attachment kind of thing. And when you click this, right, it gives you a plus, and then it gives you a list of all the patients that you already have. Like this is all dummy data. Like I can just click it. It links quickly. So what it is, I created like a very simple thing for him. I created patient, phone, email, address, and this appointment taken visits, and this table for, because we just created one table out here, it's linked it there. And the appointment taken thing is, yeah. So it's like appointment taken. I created this an appointment ID, which patient, click, say, okay. So suppose I call as a receptionist and say, oh, I want an appointment for, say, Saturday at 12, say for example, and I'm going to take 2 hours. So she'll say, okay, 2 slots. That's it. And then, so the receptionist actually, right? So what Airtable lets you do like very nicely is that this is my grid. I can quickly go and say, oh, I want to create a form, because I don't want her to deal with grids. I want her to deal with forms. Like, so it creates like this form for her, which gives you a URL. You can share the form with her, and she'll be able to easily like select a patient from this list rather than type out the details and things like that, and then set an appointment time, etc., etc. Like you do this, and then you submit it, goes into the sheet like how you have. So I created a patient form for him. This is the patient form. You can create like this also patient registration forms you can create. The stuff that you don't want lives here, or you can like add more columns, etc. And similarly for visits. So like whenever somebody visits, I can create add a view, add a form, and like your form out here. Like which patient, like okay, maybe this appointment thing is not required. Which patients, when they came, when they left, and then submit it. So you can quickly do it. This can like add a logo, blah blah blah, and that's it. Like your application is ready. Like she just has to bookmark 3 URLs, and she can add new patients and add new stuff. Then what I did going ahead is I basically went to Zapier, and it has like this kind of. I said, okay, create a new Zap. I have a Zap already created, which says, okay, whenever a new record comes in Airtable, please send them an email, and I also send them an SMS saying that, hi, you're registered or your appointment is booked right now. And Zapier lets you basically pull stuff from Airtable inside it. So say, for example, in my email that I want to send, so So send email to this email form from Airtable. And in my body of the email, like this is all dummy, of course. So you're not successfully registered. We have your phone number. We have your email. And this email, you get it, like with the details that you filled up in the form. And then it'll go ahead and even send you a text message. Like, so I went to that message 91. I got a demo account. They gave me 200 free credits. So they have a post request, which you can go and add a webhook and create a post request. So like literally within 30 minutes, I was able to like set up this entire system for him using just these two. And if he chooses to buy it, right, like it's like $10 a month for this and $10 for this. So in $20 a month, you have like a full working app, which would be quite difficult like a few years ago, you know, and I'm guessing it puts like a lot of people out of business.
People like us.
You have to move up. So my wife was telling me, like she's also into like software and stuff. So she was telling me that there are a lot of companies who do this for you. So they're like Airtable costs like say $120 a year, right? And Zapier costs another $120 a year, so $240 a year. So they say, oh, in $300 I will set this up for you, because I can't show this to my friend. Like he'll not be able to set it up himself, even though it's like so simple. So they do it for you and then they maintain it and pay them.
Right.
So for half an hour of work, you would be making like $60 a year. That kind of stuff, you know. It's like without writing one line of code, you can do this. It's pretty cool. I was quite impressed. So yeah.
Cool.
It seems like a mix of Microsoft Excel sheets plus Asana to me. Is it so? Like where you have interlinked Excel sheets or Excel files in the table, and Asana is like the interface kind of thing. It is similar to Is it so, or only I'm feeling about it?
Yeah.
It's like Google Sheets, but it lets you do foreign key references. Like if you are like foreign key means it allows you to link multiple records together, which is like very powerful. So if you go to Airtable, there's a 12-minute video which they demo like a use case, which will like clear all your doubts. What I did was quite fast, but they have a 12-minute video, which so in the half an hour that it took me to set up, 12 minutes was looking at that video, and then like the rest. Like so you can be like so like it's like so cool. Cool. What they've really got down is the interface design, which has always been like a challenge of like Access did it fairly okay, but it still was complicated. Like you would have to deal with data types and like, oh, it's a two decimal float number, like, you know, like this. So this takes care of all that, and your data is all nullable, so you can choose to have it or not. And one really cool feature which I didn't show, like I completely skipped, was that if you have any time-based field, right, like in your database, like you have a column, like in my case, there's an appointment column, date of appointment, it lets you create a calendar view out of it. So it gives you a calendar, and then it gives you all the records on those